Hello, my name is Cameron. I'm a former fraud prevention officer, and today we're going to talk about K-1 visas in Vietnam. K-1 and Vietnam, actually, there are some special considerations if you are applying for a K-1 and the beneficiary is a person from Vietnam. Now, this is actually interesting to me because Vietnam is the reason the K-1 exists. During the Vietnam War, soldiers would fall in love with local women and wanted to bring them back to the States, but they couldn't get a marriage certificate in time for a CR1, which is why President Nixon signed the K-1 into law in 1970. But now, Vietnam is one of the most difficult places to get a K-1 just due to high instances of visa fraud. And in fact, that's actually why the marriage fraud amendments were passed in 1986, because a high number of those women, I'm just gonna be honest, women left their spouses shortly after receiving their green cards. As a result, the consulate in Ho Chi Minh City is very, very strict with issuing K-1s. You know, Manila, so let me put it to you this way. If Manila is like a fire hydrant when it comes to spitting out K-1 visas, HCMC is basically a fish tube. It's really small. And it's for good reason, though. Unfortunately, a lot of people did get duped. And they really honestly are trying to protect the petitioner in this. That being said, unfortunately, some legitimate couples do get caught in the net and they are unfairly denied. So this video is going to help those who have a Vietnamese beneficiary and are applying for a K-1 visa. So first and foremost, the most important thing that you need to have is an engagement ceremony. The engagement ceremony is basically considered culturally mandatory in Vietnam. So a couple that is presenting to a consular officer that did not have an engagement ceremony that was widely attended by friends and families is a gargantuan red flag for visa fraud. Just because in any country, hiding the relationship is not normal. Most people, regardless of culture, are very happy when they're going to marry someone. So when someone is trying to hide a relationship, that raises concerns. It doesn't matter if it's Vietnam, Jamaica, or Timbuktu. Number two, another thing you need to be concerned about is don't be a Minuteman, guys. They don't like short relationships. Now, this is a cultural thing. In the Philippines, a lot of the relationships are very short prior to marriage. It's not abnormal for an American and a Filipina to date for a couple of months prior to marriage. However, Vietnamese couples don't typically have such short courtship periods. And as a result, a very short courtship period is another gargantuan red flag for the consular officers. So they're gonna wanna know, why are you wanting to bring this person back to the States even only after you've dated for 2 months? They've seen it all. Guys who are just enamored, they're thinking with the wrong head, things like that. So if you did have a relatively or a very short courtship period, just be ready to have a good explanation for why you're choosing to marry this person so quickly. Okay, number three, Vietnam actually has some very specific document requirements. So there are judicial records that you can get. Now, judicial record number 1 is the easiest to get, so that's what the couples usually go for. But the consulate at the HCMC no longer accepts those. You need to have the judicial record 2. Additionally, make sure you bring your household registration book or your household record book. They like to see that. They want the original. It just, again, helps to make the relationship to appear more bona fide. Okay, number 4, and this is very, very serious. The HCMC consulate has a very strict no docs, no talk policy. And what that means is, unless every single document is in order, how it should be, in original, within the proper dates of issuance, they will not interview you. And what's worse is you'll have to reschedule, and there's a good chance you'll have to pay again. because they have sent you emails, they warned you about this. Other embassies used to be more lenient about it, like Manila, and that was because you could only go to St. Luke's to get your sepsis test, and they were often backed up, so they would give you a conditional pass. HCMC is not like that. If you don't have everything, you're in trouble. So make sure all your documents are lined up in an order. So if you're a client of mine, that would be my job to make sure that you know exactly what you need and that everything is in order prior to your interview. Additionally, number 5, expect to be asked tough questions. So in Manila, they may ask you, how did you meet? How long do you know this person? Basic questions. You should expect to be grilled if you go to Ho Chi Minh City. They're going to want to know what's her favorite color, what's her eye color, or what's his eye color, or what is his job, why do you like him, how did you meet? So if you're just going to say, oh, we met online a couple months ago, he seemed nice, that's not going to cut it. They want a good, cogent story for why you guys are choosing to marry. Just because green card fraud is so prominent. That's why, like I said, the 1986 Immigration and Marriage Fraud Amendments were passed. And that is the birth of the 2-year conditional green cards to stop stuff like this. So if you have a Vietnamese beneficiary and you want to make sure that you're likely to get through, I am offering a petition review service. You can go ahead and contact me. Check the pinned comment in the description below. Just know that when you are dealing with a beneficiary from Vietnam, you do need to proceed with caution. This is not something to be taken lightly. This is not a credit card application. This is not a raffle draw. This is something that is very serious, and your ducks must be in a row if you expect to have a positive outcome. All right, so you can contact me at busybodyvisa.com. Thank you very much. God bless.